LaMelo Ball is a really good talent in the league and looks to be the Charlotte Hornets' best player. At just 22 years old, he's already an all-star and one of the best passers in the league. The precision on his passing mixed with the finesse makes him a must-see talent in the open court and in the half court. At his 6'7" height and willingness to attack the boards, he can push the ball up quick and find open guys with ease. He processes the court at a high level, and easily his best passing attribute is within his ability to find his bigs and hit them in stride. He has a dump off pass and lob pass down. He hits every pass in the book with accuracy with either hand and is extremely creative with his passes. When he does put his head down and attack the rim, he's really good at dishing the ball out to shooters with kickouts or skip passes. LaMelo is a solid driver. He has the ball on a string and can break down defenders to get downhill. He doesn't have much of an explosive burst, but he has that crafty, rock you to sleep type of handle, which helps a lot in one-on-one scenarios. He loves that left to right crossover, utilizes tweens, hezzies, and behind the backs as a setup. He's really good playing with pace, especially in ball screens. He has some of those moments where he turns up and goes full on and one mixtape hoops on his defender, but generally he has really good patience, assesses openings in the defense to attack. LaMelo is one of the league's best shooters. He attempts a ridiculous 10.6 threes a game last season and shot 37% from deep. The previous season, in the 2021-2022 season, when he was healthier, he shot 39% from deep on around 7 to 8 attempts. LaMelo has range and has launched some threes well beyond the three-point line with confidence. Confidence is never lacking in his game, and he doesn't get off his threes in just one area. He shoots threes off the catch and off the dribble well. He shoots 40% on catch and shoot threes, really more so of a stationary shooter rather than a movement shooter. Not really a guy who can come off of screens or knock down threes off of relocation or flow into a shot off movement smoothly. But if he is open and feels he has space, he is launching it. He shoots 35% on pull-up off the dribble threes, which is a decent percentage on a very hard skill to master in the league. He can create, lulls the defense to sleep, and gets into his moves to get into his pull-up J. Now, LaMelo really seems like he settles a lot for threes, hence the 10 3-point attempts a game, which is insane. The only guy that really comes close to those attempts is Stephen Curry, who is an all-time great shooter. Melo's three-point shooting doesn't warrant that many attempts. Around 7 to 8 is fine, but it really just seems like he settles for these threes. His activity inside the three-point line has lowered, which opened up more three-point shooting, and he's good enough to take a lot of threes, but then there are possessions where it's like, dude, you definitely could have got a better shot than that. Oftentimes, it looks like the defense just doesn't mind him shooting long threes. The 35% off the dribble shooting is decent, but not enough to where defenses really have to worry about it. LaMelo really has to find that blend of three-level scoring. It doesn't necessarily have to be all three levels, but if he can find another area of consistency to score from at an efficient rate, whether that be the mid-range or at the rim, it would really help having defenses think a bit harder on how to contain him. LaMelo does have a good feel operating in the mid-range. He has a growing floater game and pull-up mid-range shot he looks to go to. As I think he is really good getting to that floater off of ball screens and assessing when to take it. His touch on those shots are decent, but not yet solid enough as a consistent go-to in the mid-range. The pull-up mid-range shooting looks promising, really good coming off of screens, noticing when he has space and pulling up. He shot 37% in the mid-range last season. The process of how he gets to those shots are there. It's just a matter of converting. If that percentage can rise into the 40s, this is an area that will open up more of his scoring ability. This is a skill I'm higher on with him. In due time, I believe the percentages will rise. As much as the passing and three-point shooting pops in his game, the finishing at the rim does not look the best. LaMelo really struggles as a finisher at the rim, his biggest offensive weakness by far. He shot 54% at the rim last season per clearing the glass, which ranked in the 22nd percentile among point guards. This is a skill that lowers me a lot on LaMelo being a #1 option and may be best suited as a secondary option next to a high-level scorer. LaMelo isn't a strong athlete and doesn't have a big enough frame to help challenge opponents when attacking the rim. Rim pressure is so valuable in the league. Getting consistent paint touches and making the defense pay at the rim can help generate easy points. He really struggles with initiating and handling contact. When you look at other guys near his weight class, such as Ja Morant or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, these guys invite and initiate contact at an elite level. Great at getting their body into a defender, finishing off of 1 or 2 feet. For a guy like Shai, he is really good at moving defenders when contact is initiated. This is something LaMelo needs to work on. He just doesn't do it well, more so trying to avoid contact and go for acrobatic layups. Since the quick burst off the dribble isn't there for him, he relies more on breaking defenders down with his handle or utilizing screens to create an advantage. That's fine. That makes the need though for playing with contact much more necessary, given the fact that most of the best defenders in the league are almost always going to be right there with him on his hip or in front of him on his drives. LaMelo only gets to the free throw line around 3 times a game, which for a lead star guard isn't the best, and given the fact he's a good free throw shooter at 83%, his limitations as a driving threat is giving up potential easy buckets for him. LaMelo can get to the rim, but he takes a lot of awkward, off-balance layups that shies away from contact. When he came into the league, I questioned him as a driver because at times he takes off far from the rim. Something he still does. I mean, like gallerying at times from the free throw line, which makes it much harder to get a clean look at the rim and easier to block him. He's pretty predictable when looking to finish inside, and it's easy to time when he's gonna go for a layup. Though this is an area of concern, some people may shrug this weakness off and say, hey, he averaged 23 points last season and 20 the year prior when he was healthy for a full season. True, and that goes to show how great of a talent he is. Despite the efficiency concerns, he can still average 20, but it still feels like LaMelo's scoring skews to one area, which can cause problems in playoff time because what's the other option if that shot isn't falling? LaMelo is a great talent. The Charlotte Hornets are a much better team when he is on the court. Playmaking is enough to make him a high usage player, but the efficiency playing inside the 3-point line has to be better so that when playoff time comes around and if he is tasked to be that #1 guy, he will have the tools to make the defense pay consistently and efficiently.